Hi, folks. I'm Father Joe Grimaldi, but you can call me Joe, and I'd like to welcome you to my podcast. Today, I would like to talk to you about the beatification of Father Solanus Casey. That took place, as you probably know, on November 18, 2017. What a wonderful event we had here in Detroit, right at the Ford Field. Over 66,000 members of the faithful were in attendance. People came from all over the world for this blessed event. I know a good deal about canon law, so on this podcast, let's discuss the process. But now, here's our host, Ken Calvert.
When you think about Father Solanus Casey and his beatification, you didn't have an opportunity to go to that Mass at Ford Field because of the fact that you were in the hospital. You're feeling better now. Tell me a little bit about the process of beatification, because you have credentials that can speak to that. So tell me a little bit about, first, your credentials, and number two, the beatification process and what it takes to become a saint.
One of the things I think we established early on is that I am a canon lawyer. And under the realm of canon law, you have the process of canonization, which involves beatification and then canonization. In my mind, before I go any further, once you're beatified, once you're blessed, you're a saint.
Okay.
There's no question.
All right.
You don't have that official title, but you're a saint. There are many, many saints throughout the centuries, going back to the 16th century. There's a Venerable Bede even. There's people who they're in the process somewhere, but never made it to Saint so-and-so. But they're saints. They're saints. It's been built up to that. There is no difference between someone who was beatified and someone who is declared a saint. Having said that, when I first came back to Detroit, one of the things I did, because I was asked to do, there was a Father Larry Weber, I think was his name. He was in charge of the Capuchins in Detroit. So I went to see Larry Weber because he needed to, he was working on this canonization process. It surprised me that it hadn't moved along as much as it could have, I think, particularly since you have a man who's beloved. Anyone you talk to in Detroit knows Solanus Casey, and they respect him and love him and so on and so forth. However, like anything else, popularity counts, unfortunately. So, for example, in working on Father Damien's case, Father Damien was the leper in Molokai. But here's the thing. He was better known because, number one, for the past 200 years, or at least 100 years anyway, the nuns would drill that in the Catholic grade school. Everybody knew who Damien the leper was. And then, wherever there was leprosy, they all knew Damien. So, for example, India, in Louisiana, there was a colony of lepers and so on. They all knew Father Damien. One of the keys in getting to the point of canonization is that they're well known. It's not just a local thing. Unfortunately, when you look at Solanus Casey, he doesn't have that popularity. Give you another example. Mother Teresa. Everybody in the world knew who Mother Teresa was.
Absolutely.
Royalty bowed down to her. She was well known everywhere, and it was not a matter of too much time before they would canonize her, and so it happened. John Paul, as his casket was in the rotunda in Rome, people were shouting, Santo subito, which means make him a saint now, make him a saint quickly, quickly, quickly. So, with people like that, that's an extraordinary type of situation. Whereas many of the canonizations that we work on, they may go for hundreds of years, and they won't be canonized saints at all, maybe, But that shouldn't lessen the love for Father Solanus, particularly because in this particular area, he is well loved. He's admired, and he is to be imitated. So anyway, Rome takes all of those things into consideration, huh?
And so, what would be the timeline for Father Casey at this point?
When John Paul was Pope,
Mm-hmm.
he beatified more people than all of the other popes put together.
Really?
Really.
Did
Why?
he beatify Casey?
No, he did not.
Okay. Francis did that, right?
So, the reason I say John Paul, here's what happens. John Paul saw a need for, well,
A revival?
no, but a need for more, I hate to use the word idols, but people that we can look up to. For example, a young person usually has a poster in the room that they would like to imitate, and so on. So John Paul figured the more people that we can have that others can identify with for the good, the better. So he canonized couples that had never been done before. People who were married
Mm-hmm.
and led a life. Since then, there are several others that have been canonized who were couples. For example, the Little Flower, Saint Teresa of Lisieux, her parents were just recently canonized. So he did that. So to give courage to married couples trying to do the right thing in their lives. Obviously, canonized priests, canonized religious, so that people could imitate these people, canonized carpenters, canonized, and so on and so forth. He tried to figure out
The working man.
of everybody, so that somebody would always have somebody that they can imitate. And so what happens is this, that most of those people have never become saints, but they are beatified, and they are, in my mind, just as good as any saint.
All right, now, the Blessed Mary is not a saint.
Don't mix the titles with the honors, okay?
I've always been curious.
If she's not a saint, we're in trouble.
I know
Okay.
that.
No, but it's the way the title is used. Huh? When we speak about Solanus and
I'm sure I'm not the first person to ask
no, you're
that.
not. But Blessed Solanus means that he's beatified.
Right.
Blessed Mary is a title of respect and honor for the Mother of God.
I have a problem with miracles. I just have a problem believing that one person gets selected to be the gifted person. Does that make sense to you? I'm creating a profile. I have a disease. I'm not well. I don't want to die. I'm not ready. I go to see Father Casey. I put my hand on his tomb. I say a prayer. I go home. 2 days later, I'm cured. Why me?
The cure doesn't happen because it's you. It happens because you have faith. Most people don't have the faith. They take it too lightly, huh? And I think that's the way miracles occur. But I want to say one more thing about miracles that I think people might be able to understand. Today's miracle is tomorrow's ordinary cure. For example, if you were to look
Wow.
30 years ago
Mm-hmm.
to the various miracles that took place, like the healing of the blind.
Polio.
Well, who knew what was there? And then and now today they can do something about it, and it's no longer a miracle. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do.
It's the time.
Totally.
So it's
That's why I get back to the point of the miracle. Why do I have difficulty believing that there is such a thing as a miracle? And I know there are.
Are they miracles is what I'm saying.
Yes. You consider Father Casey to be basically a saint.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I don't know.
Would
if
you
we-
recommend to people? I see where Art Van today donated $20 million.
Yeah. God bless them.
That's a destination, don't you think?
That's an impressive place. That's a very impressive place.
Father Solanus was basically,
It was questioned as whether he should be ordained.
should he be ordained?
So
Yeah.
he was ordained as what they call a sacramental priest. He couldn't hear confessions.
Right.
He could only, however, he really turned the world upside down because as a doorman, he helped more people than you could shake a stick at.
What a beautiful story.
It is, and it is a beautiful, and that's where the simplicity his simplicity comes in. That makes him such a great person, is his simplicity. Like Saint Teresa of Lisieux, the little flower. It was her simplicity that makes her a saint. She saw. Well, she used to love to say, "You have to do ordinary things in an extraordinary way," and that's the way she thought. That's the way she lived her life, and so on. And I think Solanus did the same thing. When he answered the door at the monastery, he did see Christ in those people, and that's why he was able to engage in conversation with those people. And he is supposedly a man of limited intelligence, and yet his intelligence surpasses all of ours because he was able to see through the exterior and go right to the heart.
What a great, great story.
This is Father Joe Grimaldi, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the Father Joe Podcast.